It is currently later on in the day. The sun is beginning to set in the west on the Sword Coast. Out in that direction, where the sun is beginning to settle down for its everyday rest, there are forests, people living amongst those forests, going about their daily lives. But we as an audience, our vision begins to settle on a single tavern in the town of Green Nest. Tavern has a little sculpture sign of a dragon with its head cut off. And before the body is a plate with a single dragon steak on it. And there's like, for even more style, there's a fork pushed through the dragon steak. All of you sit around a table inside the Dragon Steak Tavern. Whether you're all sitting together or separately, that's up to you. But what all of you notice is a very boisterous half-elven man. One of you would already know him as Leosin, as he is raucously recounting a tale of his travels on the road. For those of you who live here in Green Nest, this has been kind of common over the last 3 days that Leosin has been here, as he and his caravan are resting up from their long travels, heading north. What would y'all like to do, as Leosin is finishing up his latest tale?
Gia would be sitting down next to the bar. She would be half-mindedly paying attention to the stories. She spent the first 2 days ago already listening to lots of them, and by this point, she would feel a bit of a burden to just stick out there and listen. But even so, the curiosity does get the better of her a little. While she hears it, the woman, Kyo, she's wearing a simple but still very effective set of scale armor, one that a hunter would be more prone to use. She has her trusty axe, a wood covers one, sitting by sheathed next to her waist, and, as usual, she has her companion in the tavern a bit close to her. She'll look towards the woman nearby and say, "Hey, Naomi, what do you think of that guy? Do you really think of the stories he tells are true? Seems kinda uh, odd to spend so long here if you're going to go north after all."
Always found him a little bit too boisterous. Never shuts up. Until he does. And then it gets noisy in the tavern again. It's just everyone either talks over him or listens to him for far too long. A terrible waste of time.
It's not really that much of a waste. The stories are fun. Can't really be against it, but just 3 days, that's too long for a caravan to stay. I don't know. You know what? That's it. I'm going to ask it. Are you going to come with me to ask him?
As you summon up the courage to perhaps approach this boisterous half-elven man, seated not too far away is a armored individual. Miss Ames, would you like to describe your character?
Sure, she's kind of seated. She may have a leg propped up on a empty chair, not quite looking for company, but looking around. She's got a tankard of something good in her hand, and she's listening to the conversation around her, noting this woman's opinions about Leosin's storytelling, and truly not disagreeing with her. Leosin does boast, but it is fun to listen when all you have is quiet. What you guys see is a half-elven cleric. She's in plate armor. There's a beautiful a lotus symbol etched around the armor, and she's got a long, thick braid down her back.
Dravna would be half listening. More or less, though, he's trying to flag down one of the bartenders to refill his mug. Currently, he's resting up against the bar right now with his elbow on the table, and he's just kind of like looking around, trying to see if there's someone to get his attention. And despite his demeanor, he has a very rugged appearance, poorly shaven beard. His hair is all rustled up and kept very unkeptly in a ponytail that's held together by like just it appears to be like rubber bands or like grass trying to like tighten it together. He's wearing scale mail, but it's very rugged. There's many dings and dents, slash marks in it. There's a little bit of dried dirt on it. And his robes that are underneath the armor is kind of dragging against the ground. It has hues of both black and white, with like golden embroidery kind of crisscrossing around the borders. He also has a shield attached to his back, and hoisted on his hip is a longsword. And just like the equipment that he's wearing, it appears to be very dull, very beginner-ish. This guy has the appearance of a mercenary.
Let's see. She makes a bit of a big show of it as she approaches. Hi. One moment. She looks around, just checking if there's anyone else, and then she kind of focuses in on him, eyeing his unkempt state. As she gets to the table, you can see the probably the most red human you've ever seen, aside from the skin. Her eyes are red, her hair is red, and she is wearing red robes with a black sash around the waist.
He'll just give you a nod, and he extends out his hand on the table as he's holding his glass, and he just mutters, "I'd like a refill."
Of course. Just one moment, please. The way she moves is very swift and kind of dainty. She very gently grasps the mug and makes a show of it. She spins on the tips of her toes and almost kind of prances to the bar itself. She then kind of lifts herself over, fills in, hops back over, mug it's still in hand. She hops back over with one hand, and then you hear the stomp, the clonk of wood on wood as you see her footwear. Planks of wood with two rectangular planks on the front and in the back of the shoes, if they could be called that.